In this video, we're going to talk about productivity, but with a different lens. We're going to see how productivity looks different for people with experiencing trauma or people who are on their healing journey from different kind of a trauma, which could be generational trauma, childhood trauma, sexual abuse, emotional abuse, parental neglect, any kind of trauma that they're trying to heal or they are healing. Productivity can look a bit different for these people, and how can they make the most out of their life and how to reclaim their productivity. So if you're interested, just keep watching. Hello, beautiful soul. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Renuka, and this is a safe place where we talk all about well-being, mental health, and productivity and leveling up, especially if you're a woman, even if you're a man, but especially a woman. Let's get into the topic. Breaking a trauma cycle isn't about just healing. It's about reclaiming your time, energy, and future. And this video is like a guide for you to help you navigate the trauma journey and also for you to understand why productivity can look a bit different for different people. In the month of January, we are talking all about productivity. And because, like everything else, productivity, when taken in moderation, is helpful, but it is also a double-sided sword, which can have a very negative effect if you're not careful with it and if you become very rigid while you take productivity, because it's the beginning of 2025 and the internet is flooded with productivity, productive videos and manifestation videos, the vision board videos, productive tools, hacks, and just setting the whole year on a right track. But productivity can sometimes be the biggest obstacle for you to achieve things, and I will tell you how and why. So traditionally, productivity means that you need to do certain tasks in as little time as possible, whereas productivity should mean progress. And if you are dealing with any kind of a trauma, sometimes you don't even know if you're dealing with trauma. Like if you had some childhood trauma and you are already suffering from CPTSD, which I've discussed a lot in detail in this video here, you can go take a look there. CPTSD is so prevalent that you might not even know that you have it, but you're just dealing your life with it, but unaware that you have it. And you might be just cursing yourself, why am I not able to do things this way like everybody else can get? I cannot get it. CPTSD can give you answers for a lot of those things. So trauma is something that you might be dealing with on a day-to-day basis without your awareness. And that's how we are going to discuss the points where you really feel that productivity is not working for you, or why you feel that you're lagging behind and other people can get it, you cannot get it. If you're interested, just keep watching. So let's look at the reasons why, if you're dealing with trauma, productivity seems like a distant thought, or why being productive becomes so difficult if you're dealing with trauma. Number one, trauma affects your brain, like literally, physically. It affects your brain and it changes the chemistry of your brain. Let's say, for an example, you are sitting down to write an email and suddenly you just go blank. You can't think of words and you overthink your statements and you end up writing nothing. Or let's say you go inside a room to clean your room and suddenly you find yourself scrolling your phone endlessly. This happens not because that you're lazy or not because you don't know how to do it. You know everything. Cognitively, we know what is to be done, what needs to be done, what is a priority. We know all of these things, but subconsciously, because the chemistry of our brain has changed, the amygdala, the hippocampus, and the prefrontal cortex changes, which is responsible for our emotions, memory, and decision making. It puts us in a very confused state when we are not able to do these functions properly. Trauma can make performing simple tasks very difficult and very overwhelming. And because how trauma affects our brain, all these areas, it makes it difficult to stay focused and stay concentrated on one task. So it's not that you're not motivated, it's not that you're lazy, it's just that your brain is busy handling stress. Emotional exhaustion. Are you the kind of a person who finds it very difficult to make a decision of very simple things like what do you want to eat, or where do you want to go, or what do you want to do the whole day? Like when somebody asks you, okay, let's get together and what do you want to eat? You find it difficult to make a decision. It's your prefrontal cortex is unable to, make a decision for yourself. And it's not because it's not functioning. It is functioning, but it is suppressed because you have so much of stress going on in your system. The The stress hormones reduce the prefrontal cortex to function properly. And that is the reason why very small tasks like making a decision, like even if you go to barista or, Starbucks, and you find it very difficult to make a decision of what you want to drink, very basic, which is not even an important decision, and you take the longest time to decide what you want to eat, is because you're emotionally exhausted. Your body is stressed. If you have stress hormone going on in your body, you're constantly stressed. Your system is constantly trying to keep you stress free, and it's constantly trying to take less burden as much as possible. Have you also heard of people who say that they are very emotional? And sometimes emotional means they could cry very easily, they could get angry very easily, they could get triggered very easily. Let me tell you one thing, and I made a separate video on this, that it's not that you are emotional, it's not that you're angry, it's not that you are always, like it's very easy for you to cry and you're empathic. The reason is you are feeling stressed and the emotions are suppressed, and when they get an outlet, they just go out of control. A normal state of a person is supposed to be still, like the still water of a lake. It is not supposed to be like an ocean, or it's not supposed to be like a river. It's supposed to be like a lake, still. And when somebody throws a stone on it, it's a ripple. It's not going to become like a hurricane or something. It's not going to become like a tsunami. That's how ideally our emotional state is supposed to be. And sometimes our emotions are not proportional to the incident that has happened, and that can cause a lot of emotional fatigue. Sometimes you are also replaying those things that has happened in the past. Let's say if it is a neglect, then you are in a state where you're memorizing those things and you're reliving those moments. Sometimes if it is a big trauma, those flashbacks can happen, and it can cause a lot of distress in your body. That makes it very difficult and very tiring for you to like function on a day-to-day regular basis. So it's not that you are not productive, it's not that you are lazy, it's just that your body right now is not in that state to perform the best. Number 4, fear of failure or perfectionism. I can go on and on about perfectionism and how we perceive perfectionism as a quality, but actually it is not. It is a sign that you are suffering from some kind of a trauma and you are aiming for perfection because of it. You might have a little sound in your head going on like, you are not good enough, you cannot do this, it's beyond your, and so you want to like give your best and do the thing the best way possible, but end up that you don't take the first step because half of your body is pulling yourself that you can't do it. Unless you do the fabulous job, you won't be able to do it. And your mind is like giving you so many ideas, but it just seems so big for you to achieve it that you just don't get started. That's perfectionism, and it's a killer of productivity. That's why people keep saying that, get the work done. I mean, it's not important that it has to be the most fancy work and it has to be the best work possible. Even with YouTube creator, people tell you that just get started. Don't aim for perfection. And it goes with everything. We are living this life, to experience, enjoy, and do things. If you keep holding yourself up to get the perfect step, it's not going to happen. It's going to take you time to learn anything, to do anything. And even if it is not perfect, but it is done, it's good enough. So the perfectionism is a whole nother topic on itself. If you want to see the video, I will put the link here. You can go ahead and watch that video. But there's another thing that goes on alongside with perfectionism, which is consistency. And a lot of time people keep saying that consistency is key. Consistency is so important for a good job. But let me tell you one thing. If you're a woman watching this video, you cannot be. Your body is not meant to keep you consistent. It's a hard pill to swallow, because when we are talking about feminism and equality, we think that we are trying to compare men with women. It is not going to happen like that, because we're not same. Physiologically, we are not meant to be same. It's like comparing apples to bananas or apples to oranges. It doesn't make sense. We are physiologically, our body is not supposed to be, it's not going to be consistent. Your energy level throughout the month is going to change every single day. So if you're a woman watching this video, understanding that consistency is not the yardstick of productivity. The yardstick is doing the work, taking smaller steps, having compassion, allowing mistakes, letting yourself to rest and allowing that freedom that these days, oh, I don't have the energy to do it. Okay, it's okay. Rest without guilt is the most important thing. Number five, chronic fatigue or physical effect. Trauma doesn't always have just mental effect. I keep telling everyone this, that our body is not just our physical body. There's a subtle body inside, and then there's a physical body, and everything works in a way that first your subtle body is affected and then it manifests into your physical symptoms. If you're having headaches and constant backaches and constant aches in your body, or you're unable to sleep, you're getting overweight, all of these symptoms are just symptoms of something that is going on in your mental state. So I feel very sorry when people just think and brush off your mental well-being as, because it's like a software. You cannot see the software, but you still need to take care of it. You just can't expect to take care of your hardware and expect you to keep performing the best version of yourself. The best version of yourself will happen when both the hardware and the software, your physical body and your subtle body, your physical body and your mind is at a very calm state, regulated state. And that's when progress happens. That's when productivity happens. That's when you're able to do things, progress. So like I said, when you have trauma, a big trauma, it will definitely have a lot of immediate physical effects. But even if you have small t trauma, or which I call childhood trauma or generational trauma, a very interesting thing happens. So when you, like, let's say in your childhood, you were not allowed to express your emotions, or you were not allowed to express your needs. Children learn to survive. That's how they learn. They will start having a mask. It's like creating a personality which is like, and they will have a persona which is for the world, which is likable, which they have understood that this is what people like. So this persona is, they are going to be more giving, they are going to not ask for things, they're going to adjust, they're going to make space for others, they're going to look after others, they will be more caring. And this is a persona that you develop to make people like you, because that is good for your survival in your childhood. But now in your adulthood, you're not going to get punished. There's nobody after you to punish you for expressing your needs. And understanding the world is unfair, and it's okay. It's okay. It's unfair, but it's okay. These are some things that you had to learn in your childhood, but you never were taught of these things. You have to learn it in your adulthood. So learning that this persona, the fake persona that you had, is no longer required is what is healing. And when you're carrying that persona, even in your adulthood, it makes you exhausted. The more authentic you are, the more relaxed you will be, because you don't have to pretend to be somebody else. And that causes a lot of fatigue, and that makes you tired. And I've noticed that, a lot of time it's not the physical tiredness that makes us tired. It usually is the mental tiredness. When you're doing a stimulating job, you will feel more tired rather than you're doing some physical, because physically stimulating jobs, you can take some rest and you will be up and running the next day. But if it is a mental exhaustion, even if you rest, you will still be exhausted, and that is what causes burnouts. These were the main reasons why you are not able to feel that you are productive, especially if you're healing from some kind of a trauma. And I tell you, if you have a number in your mind that these are the amount of people who are suffering from trauma, you would be greatly wrong, because the number is much more than you think. I'm pretty sure that if you're watching this video, you are also on a healing journey, or you are also feeling that I'm not productive, and there is this inner voice that is telling you that you're not good enough, you're this, you're that. And that is a sign of trauma, small t trauma, which is, I think, more dangerous because it goes unrecognized, undiagnosed, because you think that it's part of your personality, but it is not. So there are a few things that you can do to help you to navigate and get to progress and be more productive. Very simple things. One is self-compassion, like understanding that it's okay. If you make a mistake and if you could not do this on time, it's okay. Just be a kind parent to yourself and allow yourself to make mistakes. Number two, seeking support. If you feel like it's getting out of your hand, the help is always available. Don't wait until the time it's unbearable, because every individual has a threshold. Before you reach the threshold, you can always come back to normalcy. But if you cross that threshold, and that threshold threshold can be different for different individuals. If you cross that, it's difficult to get back to your regular normal state of being. Number 3, set small but achievable goals. I know many times when we see something, we just get overwhelmed with it and it seems like it's impossible to finish it. Break it down in smaller parts. Make small wins. Small wins are much, much more better, much, much more rewarding than a bigger battle. Small wins. Break it into small steps. That will help you. And guilt-free rest. Rest is so important, especially if you're a woman. We need more rest. Our body needs more rest. We are going through monthly menstrual cycle. It's like the inner side of a body is completely changed, and for all of that functionings to happen and the emotional difference that is happening throughout the month, the hormonal difference, we need a lot of rest. And actually our rest will vary on different days, on different months. So it's very important to have that understanding and acceptance of yourself as you are, and that you are worthy. You are just the way you are, like the way you are born. You are good enough, and you require rest like everybody else, and the rest needs to be guilt-free. Guilt-free is the most important thing. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate all of your likes and shares and your comments. Like, share, subscribe to this channel if you like my content, and I will leave my number here. Drop in your messages if you want to connect directly, and if you have any queries, I would be very happy to answer your messages. Thank you so much for watching this. I will see you next time in my next video. Bye bye.